Yes. Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi, and this is your daily Arsenal transfer roundup. I'm really sorry it's coming late. It had come around 8 p.m., but nevertheless, we are here and we are talking about Arsenal closer and closer to Dominik Szoboszlai as suggested. We have been saying this all day long, all night long, all the time. Arsenal is closer and closer to Dominik Szoboszlai. We're going to be discussing that. But there are also other two interesting stories today for us to discuss. The first one is Yves Bissouma. Brighton, Arsenal is interested. Liverpool is interested. If you ask me, do we need Yves Bissouma? I'm going to be discussing that, later on. But we also have another big story from John Stones. He's another player that has come back into our media and news roundup that Arsenal is interested in. John Stones, is it an authentic story? Do we need John Stones? Is he one of the players that you think Arsenal need? Why not? Let me get straight into it now. I'll start with Yves Bissouma, and TalkSport have written such an interesting story around him that Arsenal and Liverpool are considering January transfer bids for Brighton ace Yves Bissouma, while Gunners have interest in Christian Eriksen on their transfer shopping list. That is from TalkSport. They have written that story. They are authentic. If you ask me, are they authentic? How authentic is are they, or is TalkSport? I would say they're authentic. They have their big blog. They write authentic news. They have authentic news and views. Yves Bissouma. Do we need Yves Bissouma? I think, in this general transfer window, we might go for anyone. We might go for any player there, as long as he can improve us, as long as he's better than we have and so on. But again, we need to look at, how we spend. It's not a matter of spending. If you go for a player like Yves Bissouma, comes from Mali, is playing with Brighton, he has a Premier League experience and so on. But is he a kind of player that you're going to use for 5 years and, and you think, he's this player who can have a resale value, or is he going to be another problem like Kodran Mustafi or Kolasinac? They're at the club and they're not offering anything, and they're stuck. They have no resale value. You cannot offload them. And things like that. So we have to ask ourselves so many questions as we go into the general transfer market. I know Mikel Arteta is under pressure. The board is under pressure. Everybody's under pressure. We need to bring in new signings, but the quality matters. If Bissouma, at a time when we lack creativity, at a time when we lack a player who can take us into the final third and so on, Bissouma has scored 1 goal and doesn't have an assist this season. He has had 9 appearances for Brighton. Of course, you can't say that his performance has been outstanding and so on on the pitch, but for me, I care more about output. I know I've said so many times on this show, but that I might not go for statistics and so on. But at this point in time, if you bring in a player and Arsenal, we know the problems we have is that our players cannot actually give us the output we want. Our players cannot give us that statistics and so on. We need creative players. We need chances created. We need players getting into the final third. We need players who can shoot at goal and so on. We need midfielders who can score from a distance. And if you bring for me a player like Yves Bissouma, who has played 9 games and he has the same number of statistics with the players we have at Arsenal, for me it doesn't make sense. I need a player who has proven. Go get me a Grealish. Go get me a player like Dominik Szoboszlai or Hausemowa. I will appreciate. I'll know that we have moved one step further. We have moved one step from the mud. Further. But this kind of repeated transfer madness, transfer weakness. You get in a player in a weak player in a position, you offload them. You get in another weak player in the same position. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense for me. I think Arsenal, if we are going for Yves Bissouma, there's no difference. He's like a Danny Ceballos. Ceballos has an assist against West Ham, and we beat West Ham because courtesy of his assist to Eddie Nketiah. So he has he has a statistic this season. We need to bring in a player who is overwhelmingly better, a player who can overturn a season. You need to bring in a player who can, change things at the club, not a player who's slightly better than what you have, because in the next 2-3 years his quality is actually gonna deteriorate or something, and then he's as average as the players we have. So for me, I do not agree with Yves Bissouma. I think Arsenal need to get serious. We need to get in better players, not Yves Bissouma. Brighton, I know he's having a great season, but without statistics, how do you assure us? How do you get this to know that this guy is going to be performing the way we want him to perform? Because we want someone who can just lighten up our team. We want someone who can just break every kind of spiritual conji and everything that is holding tight our team. We need a breakthrough, and for me, I don't see that breakthrough in Yves Bissouma. You can tell me your opinions there in the comment box. Get me your views and tell me what you think about Yves Bissouma as a player that could actually potentially join Arsenal. Now, the other story number 2 is with John Stones, ex-Everton player, a Manchester City flop. Well, John Stones, I know we might need a center back. We might be in need of a center back or something like that. We might be very good at spotting center backs, but for John Stones, I'm not in for him. I'm just not in for him. He is one player that I just don't see Arsenal going for John Stones. And if we went for John Stones, and we have a Callum Chambers, what's the difference? If you bring at this point in time, I think we have learned our lesson. You want to bring in a player who has a resale value. You want to bring in a player who has quality better than what you have. What is so special these days about John Stones? Someone tell me in the comment box what do you think about John Stones, but also tell me what's special about John Stones that he's being to link to Arsenal. For Christ's sake, we don't have the worst defensive record in the league as so far. We don't, we have a very, very defensive, statistical record right now, in the league. Why all of a sudden are we linked with, John Stones? I just couldn't get it. But that story is just, making rounds, rotating here and there. Now Arsenal would want to sign John Stones. It's not true. We don't want John Stones. We don't need John Stones. We have players that are better than John Stones. Pablo Mari is better than John Stones. William Saliba, for me, is better than John Stones. However much he has Premier League experience and so on, I don't see him. If he was good enough, he was a good player, he'll be playing at City. But he's not playing at City. Nathan Ake is playing. Ruben Diaz is playing, and the other players are playing against him. He has fallen out of favor at City. There is no way a player who is not working at City is going to work at Arsenal, especially if you're a defender. We have pretty much organized defense than City. We can use William Saliba, we can use Pablo Mari, we can use more different other players. John Stones, there is no room for John Stones and Arsenal. It's just very, very clear. It's just very, 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 very clear. Okay, Dominik Szoboszlai, that's the story that all of you are waiting for at just 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Smash the like button, get your subscriptions coming in, get your comments coming in. Dominik Szoboszlai, Arsenal has sent in their offer, and probably with AC Milan. Now, the two clubs that are clearly interested in Dominik Szoboszlai. The first one is AC Milan, and of you guys, you guys know that we have been always interested in Dominik Szoboszlai, as well as AC Milan. We have been tracking him for some time. Romano has said that we might be expecting something big, and we have finally taken in our offer to the player and his agent to see whether we can actually sign him up. It might be a big story. It might be a big story that maybe we are moving closer and closer. We are showing interest and so on. But it goes down to how how prepared are we, to paying this amount of money to activate his release clause? How prepared are we to add more quality to this squad, to add more quality around him? I've already said that Dominik Szoboszlai is not a player who's going to solve all the problems at Arsenal. I'm pretty sure he can't, solve his, all the problems we want or we have at the club. He's just a 20-year-old player, a creative player. He can play on the left, he can play in the middle of the park, he can play on the right, which is so good. He's a very good, creative player. He scores, goes through the midfield, he goes through the middle. But Dominik Szoboszlai is not everything Arsenal needs. Even if you brought in, a Christian Eriksen, even if you brought in anyone who's better than Dominik Szoboszlai, our problems are far, 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 far more than, Dominik Szoboszlai. He's a young player. I don't want to put pressure on him. I don't want to pressurize him. He's a young player, and all I need to see is probably Dominik Szoboszlai get a chance at Arsenal, and Arsenal adding more quality on him. So that story also stands. We need two attacking midfielder and one right back, which is Max Aarons, and center midfielder who's Bissouma, Brighton midfielder, and another center back, which is Ramos, free agent. This is Abdi Mohammed. Thank you for the comment. Mohammed, it is well appreciated, much appreciated. Yeah, we need a right back. It's true we need a right back. You can see that all the options in there are not, performing to the task. Ainsley Madanaz has dropped out of favor, and he's not pushing enough to come back to the starting lineup. Hector Bellerin is, I think he's because he's the son to the boss, so it looks like he's having an upper hand advantage against whoever is available for selection in the right back. But it's true, and it is clearly visible, all the players we have in that right back are just not good enough. But the question is, and everybody would love to ask themselves this question: if everybody's not good enough, if we don't have players good enough in that sense, who is going to be coming in? You're suggesting a Max Aarons. I think we've been linked with Max Aarons for some good time now. Max Aarons. We want Max Aarons. We should sign Max Aarons. But I agree. He's a decent right back, better than what we have. But I don't know what what it would cost us to bring in Max Aarons. He might be quite an expensive player, but. Another thing, I don't see Arsenal going for a right back. I just don't see Arsenal going for a right back. Just look at all the problems we have right now, and you think Arsenal is going to step up and say, we have, a bigger problem in the midfield, but let us first solve the right back, or let us sign a right back and midfielders and forwards. It's just going to happen. I think this, in the next transfer summers, our focus is going to be on the midfield. Then after that, because we have Aubameyang, Willian, and Lacazette aging, then in the next 4 or 5 transfer summers, to come, is going to be the forward line, and probably we shall come back to the defensive line in the next 10 years. Because that's the way we are doing business. That's the way we have been doing our business. It's gang business. Deal with the midfield, deal with the attack in the coming transfer windows, and probably deal with the defense 10 years to come. So I don't see Stan Kroenke and his frauds spend a lot of money on a right back. You're saying we are centre back, which is also Ramos as a free agent. I wouldn't go for Ramos. We already have a player in David Louis, and I'm just waiting for David Louis to get out of this club, and I'm like, okay, Louis off, let William Saliba get playing time, let Pablo Mari get playing time. I don't want to see Sergio Ramos at Arsenal. It's not bad. It's not a bad suggestion. That's my opinion. You also have yours, and both opinions are welcome at Arsenal. You want Bissouma at Brighton. Probably he can't create a difference. He probably can't create a difference for you. Oyemede says, why Stones? Why not Konate? Beautiful. I ask myself this. Why not play like Konate? If you say, we are linked with Konate, Koulibaly, or Umtiti, probably you could say that they're better than what we have, or probably even if they're not better than so much better than what we have, there is some quality. There is something they're going to add to the club. But talking about John Stones is not a player that's going to add anything to us. No, he's just going to take us to a position where we were back. If you're bringing in Stones, then play Callum Chambers. As simple as that. Play Squadron Mustafi, play Kolasinac. They're the same, they're going to give you the same thing as us. They're going to drown you. So if you're looking for players that are going to drown us, we have enough players of that. We have enough players. We don't need players that are going to drown us. I just don't need to see such names being mentioned anywhere near my squad. Ramos will use Arsenal to get a new contract at Real Madrid like he did with United a few years ago. Shen, brilliant. This is brilliant. I think at such a point in time, Real Madrid even need Ramos, more than he needs them, because Real Madrid are really in deep trouble. I don't know. I don't follow so much what's going on in the La Liga, but Barcelona and Real Madrid are in deep trouble. Deep trouble. So I think Real Madrid might, want to, change formation. They might need to, have a complete squad overall. They want to, get rid of Zinedine Zidane, but they know that there's those, building pillars they need to stay with. They need to stay with Ramos. They need to stay with, those players that you think maybe you can, build them. You can't have a complete squad overall. You just can't have it. I mean, you can't have 11 new players, in a squad. It's just not possible. So maybe you might be right. It looks like Ramos could be using Arsenal to threaten Real Madrid so that he gets a new contract. I agree. Brilliant comment. I love that, Shenten. I really love that. Konate will be hard to get in. Of course, yeah. I don't think RB Leipzig is going to let go of any of their defenders. I just don't think that, especially in the January transfer window. But if I think about it, I don't think Arsenal is going for a defender. Not in January, not in the summer. Arsenal is not going for a defender. I want to repeat this: Arsenal is not going for a defender. If Mikel Arteta wants a new defender, let him use either William Saliba or use any of the options he has. I don't see Arsenal going for a new defender. I just don't see that happening. Dominik got that pass qualities. Oh, okay. I don't want to skip his comment. Szoboszlai to Milan might happen, considering the fact that Çalhanoğlu is leaving in the summer to Manchester United on a free transfer. Yeah, you think about that, but they had a chance to sign him in the summer. They had a chance to sign him in the summer. They failed. So, there is no way you cannot guarantee that these guys are not going to fail again. So probably they might also still fail to get in the man himself, Dominik Szoboszlai. And I think if Arsenal is more serious, if Arsenal gets more serious, we can get Dominik Szoboszlai. There is no Milan is not so much an attractive club. I know they're leading the league and among the top clubs in the Italian Serie A. They're leading. They have a big history, a rich history, a rich bank of history, but it doesn't guarantee us anything. It doesn't guarantee them that they're going to take, Dominik Szoboszlai. Probably it would be with the money. Probably it's going to be with the wages and so on. How you talk to his agent and other things. How do you convince him that he's going to have a big career as a player and so on. The project you have at the club and so on. Milan is not so attractive. I know they have just drowned from the mud, and we are still drowning in the mud. But that doesn't mean that they can beat us on Szoboszlai. If you talked about a player like a team like RB Leipzig, I would think about it, because Leipzig has that Red Bull sisters partnership with with Red Bull Salzburg. But AC Milan, yeah, they will want to replace Çalhanoğlu with him. With Dominik Szoboszlai, but I won't be shocked. Like I said, I won't be very shocked if they don't take him from us. I don't think Arsenal board are interested in signing any player, because they are gaining in this, because they're gaining in this, because this is Lukman. He didn't finish his comment by saying the Arsenal board is not interested in signing anyone because they're gaining in not signing. Now let me tell you guys, the situation in which we are is affecting our finances. I think you guys know that. Not winning games, not winning trophies. We are losing sponsorship deals. We are losing so much. And you think we are losing out. We are losing out. We need to be on a winning form so that the club makes good money, right? And we are not winning. We are not progressing. So that means the club might not be making, good money. So to come back, they know we are, they've got to spend, and they will spend. And I'm very confident we might not spend so much in the January transfer window, but in the summer we are going to spend money. We've got to spend the money in the summer, because there is absolutely no way. There is absolutely no way Arsenal is going to be making losses, and the board and the hierarchy up there is benefiting. There's absolutely no way. They've got to spend, because they know the losses are hurting them. The losses are hurting them. You can join me live. The Link is in the comment section, and tell me what you think about the transfer rumors that are going around today. We need more young, talented midfielders that can stay for 2 to 5 years. This is Oyemade. I totally agree with you. If you have Dominik Szoboszlai for 20 years of age, you have Ainsley Maitland-Niles who's 23, you have Thomas Partey who's 27. He can be there for the next 4 years. I think you have a brilliant midfield. You have a brilliant midfield of young players. You can, switch in the Bukayo Saka's, once or twice, in a week. Then you can bring in Emile Smith Rowe. You can, but we need to first get in, players that can, make that midfield set, and we do not have them at the moment. We just don't have them at the moment. Smash a like on the video. Get me your comments coming in. I want to get as many subscribers as I can, so that the year ends when we are in 25k subscribers. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel, make sure you're giving me a like, and your opinion is also dropping. So I agree with you, Oyemade. I think it is more of focus on getting the young players, because Arsenal is right now, the truth is, no manager is coming on Arsenal and we are asking for him to win the league. It's true. No one is going to ask Mikel Arteta to win the league. Nobody, even if he doesn't want win the EFL Cup or FA Cup or anything like that. No one is going to put much pressure on him, because we know he doesn't have the resources to do the job. He doesn't have the tools to do the job so well. But how is the recruitment? Let us talk. Bring in players that can mean that we are building something in the next, for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years. That's what we should be focusing on. But we are bringing in Willian, who is already 30, and we're giving him high wages and a 3-year deal, which was okay for me. I think because we didn't have money and we were in this COVID-19 situation and so on, we needed a player who could actually, join the club, and that was Willian then. So I think I should be grateful as an Arsenal fan that the club actually managed to bring in, Willian and sign him on that deal. But think about it. If we are bringing in players like Szoboszlai, you have Szoboszlai 20, you have Pepe 25, you have you have Partey 27, you have Gabriel Magalhaes 22, you have Kian Tierney who's around 22, and you have a couple of other players who are young as well. It shows that you're building for the future, and you can really convince the fans, that you're building for the future. But at such a time when nothing shows. Absolutely nothing shows that Arsenal is building for the future. It's really hard, very hard to prove to the fans that really Arsenal is building for the future. But I do appreciate the comments, and I do appreciate all your efforts. Not Ericsson, who is already urging. It's true. It's true. What's interesting is Arsenal signs players as if we want to win the league next season, as if we are league competitors and we have a player out injured, like Mesut Ozil is out injured, and we go out to sign a player like maybe Christian Eriksen, to fit in for Ozil as he comes back. The truth is, we are a club that is mediocre around, trying to build a brand of football, trying to build a style of football, trying to build a team that can actually take us through the next 5, 6, 7 years, like Liverpool did. They were literally trash. They were shit. They were you can call them whatever name you want, but they started building slowly. They brought in Mane, they brought in Mohamed Salah, they brought in Jota, they brought in Wijnaldum. They have a brilliant goalkeeper. They have one of the best defenders in the world. That's what you need to do at Arsenal. That's what we need to see. We need to to see more and more players that are promising coming into the club. We are not interested so much in how Arsenal can sign ex good players, ex Tottenham players. That's not what we want. We want a player who can actually add something to the club. And for me, I think right now the oldies just don't work. We need Ozil to be back. That is a comment from Farah. And if the board is not ready to support Arteta to spend on potential recruitment, let the owner be sacked instantly. Victor, Stan Kroenke is one guy I would want to see out of us, at any day, no matter the cost. But the truth, things don't work like that. things don't work like that. He's the manager. I mean, he's the owner of the club, and he decides what kind of gang business is done, in the premises of that club. So if we want to sack him, that means we have to have some big guy who's going to buy this club, maybe for, I don't know how much Arsenal is worth. I don't know how much Arsenal is worth. Dangote has tried to buy it, but still no success. So it's not really it's not going to be easy to get rid of this fraud. But I would also want to see him out. I would also want to see him out. We need a prolific midfielder who will fit our young upcoming players like Aziz, Smith Rowe, and Balogun are very promising. Yeah, I agree with you, Moise J. I think we have a lot of promising talent there. But I've said this on my previous stream, and I'll say it again. These are young players that do not need a lot of pressure. These are young players we cannot put on pressure. We've got to spend. There is no other way out. We've got to spend if we want to have a decent side. If we want to have a decent side, if we want to have a competitive side, we've got to spend money. So that these guys, these young, lads can actually have an example, to follow. Muscab Farah says, sign a goalkeeper who ties competition with Leno, like Neto from Barcelona. It was a big mistake. This is when I see it, that it's a big mistake for Martinez to leave. Not because he's so much, better than my guy. Not so much of that, but I think the better thing to do was let Martinez and Leno compete. Every good team needs that competition in every place. What's wrong with us not having two good players in one position? Like we have two good players as our strikers. What's wrong with that? I mean, there isn't anything wrong with that, but we just can't keep hold of two good players. And everybody would say that Arsenal didn't lose a good player. We didn't lose one of our top quality talents because we kept Aubameyang. But we forget that we lost Martinez, and one of the reasons as to why Ban Leno is underperforming is because Martinez is off. If we had Martinez, it should have been something different. But I agree with you, Maskaban. Thank you so much for the comment. Dan says we need Ozil back in the team. How many of you in the stream believe we need Ozil back in the team? I want to know your comments and views. How many of you believe that we need Ozil back in the team? And then Muscab says Donald Trump will buy Arsenal and we will win the Champions League and Premier League. I'm not really sure about he's a billionaire. How much is he interested in Arsenal? I mean, it's a funny comment, isn't it? It's a funny comment, but how much is he interested in Arsenal? You've got to ask yourself such a question. And in my opinion, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Donald Trump taking over us, because he might actually mess up like he messed up America and the government. But do we need a new owner? Yeah, we need a new owner, but we don't need someone who's going to be another Stan Kroenke. We need a national man. We need someone who's going to be a national man, someone who cares for Arsenal. We need a Roman Abramovich, but for Arsenal, someone who knows that Arsenal needs 100 million because it's not performing well. Someone who will be hurt when Arsenal don't win. Someone who will be bothered when Arsenal lose or draw at Burnley or at Leeds or Aston Villa. But Stan Kroenke, Donald Trump, the business class, I'm just not interested in their money anymore. Cedric to replace Bellerin. I've said that in my previous stream. I said it that maybe Cedric Soares needs to come in and get some good playing time. Maybe he needs to replace Bellerin. Bellerin is playing game in, game out. But if you ask me, is he offering anything to the club? Is he potentially useful and so on? I don't see that. I just don't see that, honestly. I want to see a change. I want to see Bellerin. I want to see Ainsley. Probably it will be something different. I want to see, I want to have Guna on.
Hello.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Having a good day. Just waiting for the to get a result, and I'll just cheer me up for Monday.
so much is going around, but let us start with John Stones. Let us start with Stones. He's linked with us again, and this isn't the first time. Even in the summer, Stones was linked with Arsenal, and for some reason, we survived him. He never joined the club. But are they, are they baseless rumors, or you see some point of truth in it?
It's the media. Like sometimes, whenever we get transfer news on the media, I don't trust to believe it. It's because the media can say anything.
Yeah,
that's the reality of any. They can just say we want Ericsson, we want Isco, we want that. But unless it's confirmed by a real source, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
So it could be fake news, it could be true, but we don't know what is real or what is not. That's the club. The club must have an idea, but I'm not trusting it for now. But it could come. Could come.
But I want to ask these guys. John Stones, if I have William Saliba on the bench, why would I bring in John Stones? How different is,
The thing is that John Stones used to be a good player. He used to be decent. He got into the England national squad for the World Cup, but he's been off, and I haven't seen him play a game for Manchester City for the past 2 seasons. And he's off average, and he's adding more money to the wage bill. Useless players coming in. We have got so much talent on that bench. We've got, how many centre backs have we got? David Luiz. Okay, he's got 1 year on his contract. We've got Gabriel, Pablo Mari, Saliba, and a few other players. Mustafi.
Yeah.
Socrates. Yeah, we've got a long list, and adding John Stones it won't do anything. You could say, oh yeah, he will bring experience to the squad. We already have enough experience with Willian, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil. We already have that experience. Even Mikel himself was a player. He brings that experience as well. So adding John Stone, he's not even a decent player. And I won't go for John Stones. And it's just adding more money to the wage bill.
Exactly. I'm asking myself.
It is said that It is said that Arsenal, when everyone, so by the time next year, lot of players' contract is going to end, and about 6 players, and that altogether a week cost Arsenal 657k, around that per week. That's about saying 30 to 40 million per year just for 6 players.
Yeah.
And we can spend that money on a world-class player like a Houssem Aouar.
Yeah.
But we could have got Pai a long time ago. But if we don't renew these contracts, like two months after it ends, like Aubameyang right now, I'm getting scared for the future and it's worrying as well, because every time a player sees his contract ending and the club are not going to renew it, but when they come to negotiate 2 months like before the contract ends, they're like, give me that money and I'll stay. They ask for a high demand, and the club need to be strict. They're playing fair. Like, okay, we give you this money, but you stay. So we need to get people off the wage bill and stop adding useless junk. If you want to add an experienced player, which is class, a good talent, I'll take it. But stop adding useless players.
Yeah, but anyway, players that don't have resale value, players that just can't anything. If you're saying you need a change, you need something to push us forward, it's Johnson's taking us forward. I just don't see that. But let us just move on to Yves Bissouma, Brighton. He has been suggested in the comments, and I think he has carried the day today, saying that a story from TalkSport saying that Arsenal and Liverpool will be going for Yves Bissouma. That is the January transfer window. Brighton centre midfielder. What are your thoughts on him? Have you seen him play so much? He has played 9 games, this season and scored once in that 4-2 loss against Everton. At
Yeah,
Brighton.
I have seen him. I have seen him against Liverpool on the weekend. He's a good defender, but I always think, will he fit? Will he fit into the Arsenal squad? He might be a class He might be a class midfielder for Brighton, but for Arsenal, it's like if we sign some player which is like scoring like 20 goals per season. But in the Premier, he's playing in the Premier League, but that's for Brighton. No disrespect to them, but they're Brighton. They always get top 10, maybe third.
And that's the question I ask myself. If you're bringing in Bissouma, how well scouted is he? Are we buying him because we are under some kind of situation? How well scouted is he? We brought in Granit Xhaka from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Guys is a flop on the pitch. We have brought in so many players that have turned into average. Do we have even now a scouting process where we first scout players and before bring them in and think how whether they will work or not? I'm not really sure, but anyway,
yeah, I got a point on there. The scouting missions, we have a good scouting. We actually do good scouting.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got a comment here. We need Ozil in the team. Listen, I'm gonna say to this person, we can't use Ozil. It's end of the story. You can stop saying Ozil. There's no need of saying Ozil because he's not gonna come back. Because the reality is, if he come down from Cloud9, you know that he's not gonna play. Not in the Europa League because Arteta does not like his attitude.
Yeah,
he's not gonna play. He's gonna see off his contract and go.
I think we are past that
or
level. We have seen this before.
Yeah, I was talking about but Granit Xhaka was signed by Arsene Wenger and Ivan Gazidis' time.
Yeah,
we have some good scouting people. Like we bought Cesc Fabregas and other players as well, like Gabriel,
the Martinelli.
Someone must have surely, Martinelli.
Yeah.
So many players that have come from other teams in lower leagues have come done well, but some of the players that we have now are not from Mikel. They are all from like Arsene Wenger's near to the end of his reign, and Emery's. If Arteta gets his players, like he might. I was saying on yesterday's show with the watch. I was saying he might need a few players. So if he gets those players out, the players that he does not need, then we might actually go somewhere because he might have players that he might have to play, but he doesn't want to play. Well, fortunately, he's like, okay, if I don't play him, I won't have any players to go do that job. So he's like, okay, I have to go play with these players.
Farah says Chelsea are giving us all players and they don't add us something like Willian, Louise. Well, I would agree with signing these old players from Chelsea. Arsenal is making a big mistake. Last season, Luis cost us a lot. I don't want to masquerade him with his performance that he has had. He really cost us a lot last season. Willian has not really worked out. You ask yourself, what if Arsenal had gone for a player like maybe Carrasco if he was available, or any other player who was available at the moment, player who's younger, player who could actually add something. But then the finances and the COVID-19 were affecting us. But do you think it's high time we stop buying these old players, free transfer, old cheap players?
I think it's about time we stop, because at the end of the day, it's not what we need. If it's something that we find, but William wants 200k, and Louise is on 100k as well. Now I would actually keep Louise, and maybe Willian after this season he can go, because I don't think he's gonna stay in the club for a very long time.
Mm.
I don't think he's gonna finish his 3 years at the club. But if we need it, we get it.
Yeah. I was saying the problem with players like Willian is the same situation with Ozil, the same situation with the Aubameyang. He's going to say, "I want to stay here. Finish my 3 years, and then leave." And then you don't have an option but to leave him out of the pitch, and he's getting big wages and so on, and it's just keeping the fans frustrated. It's just keeping everybody frustrated at the club. You might not see him finish his 3 years, but I think if he wants to finish these 3 years, he will finish them.
It depends. I would actually, in the next, maybe in this season, maybe after this season, maybe 2 seasons after coming up, I would actually sell Aubameyang, because I just think that it depends what he does this season. What he brings to the expectations of Mikel Arteta. If he does good, I'll keep him. But if he does in the next 2 seasons, I would just sell him, just to get at least some money in. We're signing for about 40-50 million. If we can just get about 20 million for him, or if he wants to retire here, we don't know. But I think we should keep him, because he brings the team alive. We have to take him as well, because he saved so many times last season. Manchester City in the FA Cup, Chelsea in the final. He saved us a lot of times. Yeah.
Experience is not a big issue in current football, because teams like Liverpool, all players emerged with their coach. Even they have delivered. Experience is not an issue in current football. You're lying. Liverpool, for some reason, they have a James Milner in that club. For some reason, they have a Henderson, in their squad, and you can't see that. The average age of Liverpool players is they're not kids. They've experience. In football, as long as you're 25, 26, you have the experience. You can bring experience to the club. It depends where you've gone with. It depends where you've played. Sadio Mane has played at Southampton before, and he has played down, was it in Belgium before, in Austria before, so played in the Champions League. He had the experience. Mohamed Salah at Chelsea, at Basso, in Italy, he had the experience. He was bringing Roberto Firmino in Germany. He had some bit of experience. So Liverpool is not using novice players. Look at Jota and what he's doing. Jota is not a novice player. You can't say that Jota doesn't have any experience whatsoever. You look at Virgil van Dijk. He was at Celtic, comes at Southampton. He gathers his experience. He comes at Liverpool and he becomes one of the best players. Look at maybe players like Trent, maybe players like Robertson. You can think about that, but you think the Gigi Wijnaldums of this world, they have been playing at Newcastle, before joining Liverpool. So I think Klopp has some experience in his club. He has some experience in his club. Experience really doesn't mean 30, 40 or 35 years. It doesn't really mean that. It means a player who can, who has, played a couple of cups, a couple of, games for, and has built his brand, built his confidence and so on. And I think Liverpool players really do have the confidence. But Guna, what do you think? You think if we didn't have experience, Arsenal would be still doing good if we didn't have players like David Luiz, Aubameyang, and maybe who else brings the experience? The Lacazettes.
This is a tricky one, but at the end of the day, it don't matter about your age.
Yeah.
It matters how you perform on the pitch.
Yeah.
how you perform on the pitch gets the points on the table. So, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic is 39. He's still scoring goals. No one thinks he's 39. He looks like a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not about the age, but some people, they go into it like, oh, he's 32, oh, he's 34, we can't take this guy, oh, we give him a 3-year contract, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if and Villa gives us the performance we need, and we're like, oh, he's a good signing. But if he doesn't, he will get criticized, and he has to take that criticism onto his shoulders, and perform on the pitch. Even Aubameyang. But no one criticizes Aubameyang that much because he has done so much for this club. He scored like over 60, 70 goals.
Yeah.
But at the end, if Willian can perform, if Luis can perform, then we have no complaints. But if they do poor, they will get criticized.
Anyway, guys, it is the transfer roundup show, so don't get shocked if you're talking about experience. You're talking about things, of course, as we need to recruit players. We're talking about so much more, but the situation with Szoboszlai is quite tricky. We have approached his agent and taken in an offer, but we are the second team that is as well as AC Milan, and not the only team to take in offers for to Dominik Szoboszlai. How do you weigh our chances? How do you weigh our chances of getting Dominik Szoboszlai before even I can ask whether he can work with Mikel Arteta?
I think we have 50-50. If we go put an offer on the table, a clean offer, and if Salzburg accept it, then it's up to the player. Now we've had situations before, like Gabriel. He had Napoli, Manchester United, PSG coming in late. All of Gabriel. But at the end of the day, it was Mikel that was saying, no, you come to Arsenal, you look what I've done, what I'm trying to achieve, and you want to be a part of that. If Mikel can do the same thing with Dominik Szoboszlai, then you can say something. But we have been in this situation for a very long time, but it's going to be more difficult because we've got apparently Bayern Munich. But Szoboszlai will be thinking in that Bayern Munich team, if I go to Bayern, yes, I'll win trophies. Yes, I'll win more. I'll finish in the Bundesliga first every season. Yes, I'll get to the Champions League final. Yes, I'll get to play with Lewandowski, Neuer, Gnabry, Kimmich, all of those players, Alaba. But he'll be thinking that they've got Kimmich, not Thiago, Gnabry.
Bad internet, just bad internet. But thanks for your thoughts, Gunnar. Thanks for your thoughts, Una. Mutsinzi Emi, one of those people who always comment on my videos. Thank you so much, Mutsinzi, and well appreciated for your comments. John Stones, no, we don't need him. No. I've already said no. I think you're adding a voice to mine. I don't think we need John Stones. I don't know if I mean, but I don't think we need John Stones, guys. I don't think we need John Stones. And for that matter, I'll call it a live stream. I'll call it a day. I'll go rest. And thank you so much for everybody who joined. Smash the like on the video. Get your subscriptions coming in. Get the comments coming in. A like is very important. Let us get them to more than at least 10 likes, 20 likes, 30 likes, 40 likes, 50 likes. Yeah. So everybody on the video, please do smash the like button. Smash the like button. Whoever is live, smash the like button. Massively appreciated.